them and many other groups in terms of developing the first ever, perhaps in the country, but a mortgage ordinance to make sure that people keep their homes and that no one leaves. We've done that. We've done that working with clergy. The bottom line is if the question is, will the Salado administration partner aggressively with faith-based organizations to resolve the issues of Springfield, a city whose students are 80% in poverty in our schools, a city where there are pockets of poverty, whether it's the North End, Mason Square, Six Corners, and throughout the city. Absolutely, we will partner with you. We've done it before. I look forward to that. I want to partner with everyone because, as I said earlier, we all have an investment in bringing Springfield out of the economic slump and out of the waves of crime that we've had for the past number of years. So absolutely, we will work together, and I look forward to it.
Thank you. That concludes the first phase of this debate. The next phase consists of questions that were fielded from the audience. Each of the panelists have been handed a number of questions from audience members. Let me say from the outset, all of your questions will not be asked tonight as time would not permit for that. I'm asking the timekeeper to please switch the time from 2 minutes to 1 minute. Each panelist will have 1 minute to answer these questions that have been selected from the audience. Mr. Christopher David Alvarez will ask that first question.
When will we finally get serious about youth development and have a cabinet level person and department to work on too with youth issues?
First person to answer that question will be Mr. Tosado.
Well, one of the first, and I meant to say this earlier, but in terms of all areas, we need to involve youth. Right now, we have a youth commission in the city of Springfield. It's been around for quite some time. Unfortunately, it's dormant. It hasn't been used. Youth aren't being used to tap into their unlimited potential. We have to actually stop it. I've been saying this for quite some time, even before the beginning of this campaign. I get inspired. I get inspired every time I meet a young person, and I'm in the schools all the time as well. I'm a former school counselor, and I was a school volunteer for 25 years. And every time that I meet a young person and they start telling me about their goals, their visions, their dreams, and oftentimes how those dreams are stunted because of the lack of support that they get from city leaders, it really breaks my heart. It's my intent to make sure that we stop the brain drain that's happening in the city of Springfield. Young people today can't wait till they graduate before they can leave the city of Springfield. That needs to stop.
Time.
That brain drain is an issue that I will certainly be working with, and we will definitely need to tap into the potential of young people.
Ms.
Thank you.
Pepe.
Well, when I first got on the school committee, Mass General Law states that a senior high school student should be sitting on that school committee. And let me tell you, I met with more opposition than you could believe. And then I finally got what I wanted. I got a youth on that committee. It took almost 8 months before we can finally, now they do it right away because I became adamant about it. You're right, we don't talk to our youth. We don't address our youth. We tell our youth. We dictate to our youth. We tell our youth what they want to hear, that we want them to hear. We don't open our ears and hear what they have to say to us. So you better believe it. Let me tell you something. I brought up 3 children, but I probably brought up hundreds of children because kids always knew they could come to Mama Pepe's house. They can eat, they can have somewhere to sleep, and if they had a problem with their parent, they could stay at my house and I would call their parent.
Time.
That's important.
Mayor Sarno.
Very shortly, the first time in the city's history, we'll be opening up a teen health center to deal not only with health issues, but emotional issues, right up here in Mason Square, the heart of Mason Square. Sasha, in dealing with teen pregnancy and working with our youth. Youth development. I think people know my reputation on youth development and funding community centers, social service agencies as we move forward. Listen to the kids. They wanted middle school sports brought back. I did it on a volunteer basis. I went out to business, donated money. Now it's in the budget. My cabinet head person, besides Helen Carlton Harris and Pat Sullivan, is right in my office. D. Moss, Daryl Moss, who heads up my anti-violence mayor's task force. We have many young people that are involved in this group that put across their strategies and their ideas Many people that we've been able to move up to Governor Patrick now that serve on his board. So we are fully engaged with our youth population. I love being amongst the young people, constantly in the schools, or out in the neighborhoods, or in the community centers, to reach these kids. And tell them that a suit and tie means nothing. So respect you give is the respect you get. Thank you very much.
Next question, Ms. Ann Leavenworth. Please speak into the mic. Would you all allow me to moderate? Thank you. Use your preaching voice.
In the last several years, and notably in 2010, the Melvin Jones shooting, there have been several incidents concerning brutality administered by the police and directed toward people of color. The community and the NAACP often recommended a community review board. Would you agree to such a board which would be made up primarily of elected members elected by the community?
Mayor Sarno will be the first to answer that question.
Thank you very much. And just to let you know that I have met with Melvin's family, and I've also met with all sides, and I think we also came to see the NAACP. I tightened and strengthened the board that was in place. Matter of fact, the original complainant, Reverend Amos Bailey, is the vice chair. The former chairwoman of the MCAD, highly respected attorney Cynthia Tucker, is on that board with other members, C. Jackson, other community members, grassroots members that meet. They've acted with integrity and professionalism. Any punishment they put forward, Commissioner Fitchett has followed, and even more as we move forward. The board was originated, Councilor Tizzato was very involved with that. I tightened it even more, putting more hearing knowledge into it. This whole issue that occurred, would we have liked to have it done quicker? We certainly would. But we had to follow the letter of the law. District Attorney Bennett at the time, we were ready to go 3 times with hearings. We had to stop and hold because it might hurt criminal prosecution. So I'm very proud of the board interaction. They are community residents.
Time, Mr. Tizzato.
Thank you. I think the people who are currently and those who have served on the Community Review Board are fine, outstanding citizens of the city of Springfield. However, the actual makeup of the board, it doesn't work. And I've been very critical for the past 2 years about that. And as people know, I've served 4 years as vice chair of the Springfield Police Commission, and I believe that the kind of body that we need to bring back to have full representation, accountability, transparency, and a culture of performance is by bringing back a full-blown Springfield Police Commission. The makeup of that will be obviously people from the community. But Ann, honestly, I'm not going to stand up here and promise you everything that you're asking for. I'm not going to do that for anybody because I would be disingenuous to do that. What I will tell you is that I will make every effort to make sure that it's a board that represents the community and that the community is involved in the selection of its members. Thank you.
Ms. Pepe.
Well, the first year that the board was in place, it did have meetings, but the meetings dwindled down to almost nothing now. They are not meeting. They are not discussing. I have all the minutes. A lot of emailing going back and forth, but the meetings aren't really going on. So I, too, agree that we need to bring back a police commission. We need to have people out in the open. Nothing has been out in the open with this committee. I haven't seen anything. And I'm just a little curious as to why it's not a bad concept. Why did you say elected officials? Elected members. Well, you mean elected by whom? By the community. Okay, I thought you were talking about okay. So that's not a bad idea, and of course, I would not promise, as he said, but I definitely want